Class, I'm going to start a very important topic called consideration. Okay. Section 25 says that no consideration, no contract. Yes, consideration is so essential to a valid contract, right? But then the question is that, what is consideration then? If it is so essential, what is consideration then? And make no mistake, as I keep telling all the time, see, we need to understand this consideration very, very clearly, because there have been so many cases which have been won by the correct interpretation. There have been so many cases which have been lost. So we need to understand it very, very carefully. So then what is consideration, sir? Very top level, at a very, very top level, when there is a contract between two parties, what are these two parties getting is consideration. Okay, what is the promisee getting is consideration for the promisee, and what the promisee is giving is consideration for the promisor. Overall, I am going to be discussing it quite in a quite bit of detail. I'm going to be giving a lot of examples, and I'm also going to be quoting a lot of case law. So it's going to be a very interesting study. Section 2 subsection D says that when at the desire of the promisor, a promisee or any other person has done or abstained from doing, does or abstains from doing, promises to do or abstain from doing something, such act or abstinence or promise is called consideration for the promise. As I say in law class, that small words, but big meanings, right? So definitely what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be looking at the interpretation of each element, right? Each phrase that is given in the definition of this consideration. Other things, so other than understanding what consideration is, and other than doing analysis and interpretation of this particular definition as per section 2 subsection D, class, in India, in Indian law, if there is a rule, there are at least 10 exceptions, right? That's how our country is actually, right? So we are going to be understanding that, hey, generally no consideration, no contract. But in India, there are exceptions. It is possible that there is no consideration, but it is still a valid contract. So we are going to, spend some time understanding that, and I'm going to be taking a few case laws also to understand in which circumstances the Indian law provides that even if there is no consideration, the contract can be valid. Okay. I'm also going to touch upon a very, very important doctrine, and that doctrine is called the doctrine of privity of contract. Right? I and you are talking many times, and let us say that somebody uninvited comes and starts interrupting us. What do we say? Hey, we are talking, please don't get in between us. Stay away. Keep yourself away. What does it mean? It means that, hey, contract between two parties is a contract between the parties only. No third party can come and sue upon it. A stranger to a contract cannot sue upon it, basically. So only these two parties, if there is a breach of contract, only these two parties can sue each other. A stranger cannot sue each other. But again, class, it's Indian law. General rule is that strangers to a contract cannot sue upon it, but in India there are exceptions where even the strangers can sue upon a contract. Very interesting. And I'm also going to be taking a few case laws as an example to understand where in India stranger to a contract can sue upon it. Alright, so it's going to be a very interesting discussion. Let's straight away get into the classroom without any further ado. Alright, see you in the classroom. Class, section 25 of the Indian Contract Act says that, boss, listen, no consideration, no contract. Yes. It's so important. Such an important topic. No consideration, no contract. Okay? That's what it says. In fact, it doesn't say like that because it is an act, so it will say that an agreement without any consideration is void, which means no consideration, no contract. So consideration is very important. So until now we have discussed acceptance, we have discussed, proposal, we have discussed acceptance of the proposal, we have discussed communication, we have discussed how the communication should be for the proposal and acceptance and revocation, so on and so forth. And we have briefly touched consideration as per section 2 subsection D. But now it's the time to go into a little bit of more detail, because consideration is so important to a valid contract. Okay, so we will take a lot of examples, we will learn about a lot of case laws, and we will learn about all the legal rules relating to consideration, when a consideration is valid, when a consideration is not valid, so on and so forth. However, first thing, sir, what is this thing called consideration? Just give me the meaning also, no? At least I should understand what is this consideration. Okay, fair enough. You took the exam, my friend. In the future, you will take the exam and you became successful. Your dad became very, very happy. Wow. And then dad says, boss, I'm so happy. Come on, I'll buy you a bike. Alright, then if you're a girl, then your dad says, I'll buy you a scooty. Alright, with all the helmet and everything, right? The pink one. And for the boy, maybe, choose your color boy. But the dad is very, very happy, and you and dad go to the showroom. Alright, so what is the contract there? And what is the consideration there? What is the offer there? What is the consideration there? Okay? Fine. So, from your side, what does travel? From that side, what does come? It is you. It is the bike company. So from your side, I'm sure, let us say you are buying a 1 lakh rupees bike. That is, that is so happy. 1 lakh, not less than 1 lakh rupees. Highest quality with this, all that speed and glass and all sort of stuff. So rupees 1 lakh. Ultimately, it was agreed that 1 lakh will be paid by your dad, and in return, the bike company will give what? Nothing? Say thank you and then let's go? No. In return, you will get the bike. So what is consideration? So the first thing, class, first thing that we are talking about, and the first understanding is that consideration, the most basic language is something in return. And do not worry, I'm not going to leave without discussing with you all the legal language of what is a consideration, section 2 subsection D, and we are going to do a lot of operation around that particular provisions of that subsection. So do not worry about that, but we will start in a very logical way so that we are able to do all the needed analysis of section 2 subsection D, where the definition of consideration is given. Okay, section 25 only says that no consideration, no contract, but it does not talk about what is consideration. Consideration has been defined in section 2 subsection D. Anyway, so something in return. Consideration is what? Something in return. Okay. You want to say the same thing but with a little bit of a greater style? Use a Latin word. Okay. Why not? Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. What is quid pro quo? I'll rub your back, you rub my back. That is, the main thing. Whenever somebody says quid pro quo, or even media uses quid pro quo, it means that there is some case of corruption. Why? Because I'll do something for you, please you do something for me. Okay? But here, forget about that thing. Here it means something in return. Quid pro quo. Okay? So here, what is something in return, sir? Coming back to the bike example, what is it that you are getting in return? I'm getting bike, no sir. That is consideration for you. What is consideration for the bike company, the shop? Money. 1 lakh rupees. That is the consideration because he is getting money. In return for what? Giving you the bike. Okay, so consideration for you is the bike. Dad is so happy. Say that, boss, now let us sit on bike and we will go and watch a movie, Avengers movie, then Avengers 4, the conclusion. Okay, you are so happy. How is Dad so nice to me? Normally he is so scary, but today how is so nice to me? Alright, so there you go and you buy a ticket. Okay, and you watch the movie. Fair enough. So I'll make a big person, Dad. Alright, so big person and the smaller person. Okay, both of you go together and you pay again money, and let us say that you say that, boss, gold class will only do, sir. Today that is really good. I will buy gold class. We will buy gold class ticket with all that, the seat will stretch and then you can sleep, and the representative, the staff will come and give you all the popcorn and cold drink. Fair enough. So how much was paid? 2,000 with 1,000, 1,000. Alright. And in back, what do you get here? No, popcorn you have to pay separately. It is not included in 2,000. You also have to pay for the cold drink separately, whatever you eat. It is only for the ticket price. So you get something called experience here. Right? Visual, dramatic, whatever is there, visual experience you get. And here is a cinema. So what is the consideration? Consideration in this particular case for you is visual experience. That is the consideration. Right? And consideration for the cinema hall is again the money. In return for what? In return for the experience, the visual experience. Okay, fair enough. Or entertainment, whatever you can call it. Okay. And then Dad was so happy. Dad said that, hey, no, it is not sufficient. I'm not, I'm not yet satisfied with how much proud I am with your achievement. So why don't we do this? Let us go for a holiday. And we will not go holiday here, 200 kilometers, sitting in the car and going there. We will go outside, Switzerland. We will go. Okay, fair enough. So that is also true. And you paid around 2 lakh rupees to the airline for the tickets. I think mostly you don't need to pay 2 lakh rupees, but let us say that, I believe that if you really searched for good tickets, 1.2 lakh rupees will be okay for 2 people. Okay, and then what do you get in return? What is the consideration? Transport from place 1 to place 2, right? That is the consideration here. Not the travel experience. Travel experience comes for free, but you go from point A to point B. That is the consideration here. Okay, fine. We understand this. Now, sir, enough example, and I understand. What I get in return is the consideration. So something in return, quid pro quo. And both parties should get something in return. What are they getting? Again, money. So we understand what is consideration now. But class, consideration is not only this much. These are only a few examples where we could clearly see that there is something that is being received in return, and we see that okay, this is consideration. But now is the time to understand a little bit more. Now is the time to dig a little bit further. Okay, so now straight away, class, we are going to jump into what this section 2 subsection D talks about consideration. Okay, so I need some space. I'm sorry, this artwork will have to go from here, and I hope you got the point. But let's just go ahead with the definition. So the subsection D says that when at the desire of the promiser, try to make out meaning. Definitely I'm going to discuss quite a lot with you. But when at the desire of the promiser, the promisee or any other person has done or abstains from doing something, does or abstains from doing, promises to do or abstain from doing something. Such act or abstinence or promise is called consideration of the promise. Okay, fine. So can we write now? Or do you want me to repeat this again? So whenever the desire of the promiser, okay, the promisee or any other person has done or abstained from doing something, does or abstains from doing, or promises to do or abstain from doing something, such act or abstinence or promise is called consideration for the promise. Can I write it now? You should also now make a separate note, separate page, new page, just write this one, and then we'll see the magic of how we can, live up to this thing that, small words, big meaning, right? Big word. All right, let's say. So when at the desire of the promiser, the promisee or any other person okay, and there are three parts to it basically. Any other person has done or abstained from doing or does or abstains from doing or promises to do or abstain from doing something. Past tense, present tense, and future tense. When in a movie, right, when the hero is very romantic, then you say that I was loving you since last 7 lifetime. I'm loving you now, and I love you for next 7 lifetimes. It's like this basically, right? Very stylish. Okay. Any other person has done or abstained from doing, or does or abstain from doing, or promises to do or abstain from doing, same thing. Okay. Fine. Such act or abstinence or what? Promise is called what? Consideration for the promise. Okay. Anyways, so this part we understand. Now class, time for us to break it down now. Important time. Okay. So let us just focus on small phrases. At the desire of the promiser. Okay. First. Okay. We'll give the numbering later on, but this is one point. Okay. The promisee and surprise, or any other person. Not only the promisee, any other person can also do something or abstain from doing something. Okay. Done or abstain. Same thing is repeated 3 times, but we understand there is something positive and there is something negative. Okay, fine. Has done or abstained from doing something. Okay, fair enough. Such act or abstinence. So again, the same thing is being repeated here, act or abstinence, positive and negative. And we have forgotten this also, that there is this past tense and there is a present tense and there is a future tense. We should not forget that. Okay, fine. I'll tell you why we should not forget that. Okay, our promise is called consideration. Okay, Are we ready now to dig deeper into this? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? We are ready now to look deeper in this, sir. Why not? Okay, so the first thing, class, is this positive thing, which is act. And second thing is the negative thing, which is abstinence. So why don't we understand that this particular fact? That listen, consideration can be an act, doing something. So all the examples you saw, no, here, the bike or the cinema or the plane, they were positive thing. There was an act happening. Okay, the positive thing. Okay, but consideration need not necessarily be just an act. It can also be abstinence. Okay, so let's get ready for that. This is very, very important. Okay. Okay, class. So see, one thing is that in this particular discussion, I just want a light discussion around the different important points in this particular definition. Okay, that's it. Because after that, we are going to be discussing the legal rules related to consideration quite in detail. Okay, so legal rules regarding consideration we'll discuss and we'll do much more analysis. But for now, the first thing that we can note is that act. Act is positive, and abstinence is negative action, right? Not doing anything. Okay, so that is the first thing, and this one is the second thing that we notice as far as consideration is concerned. So what is an act? So act, let us take one example. So we have already said that, hey, you got the bike, you got the experience in the cinema hall, you got the transportation from point A to point B, from, let us say from India to Switzerland. That is the consideration for you. But act, any act can also be a consideration for you. What is an example? You are a very good person, right? And you are respected. And you have two friends, A and B. Okay. Now, B is looking for some money. And B went to A. Okay, say that, hey, give me the money, I'll give you 1 month back. Later, 1 month after, I'll give you, when I get my money, I'll give back to you, return it back to you. But A is hesitating. And then you and A, you both have a contract. You say that, boss, you give, I'll take the guarantee. Please give. Okay. Then A takes this action. A takes this action where he gives the money, action, act. He acts. A acts and he gives the loan to B. Okay. In this particular case, it is an act. Okay. And this act itself is a consideration for you. In return, what is he getting? He is getting a guarantee. Okay. So this is a positive example. Now, how about the abstinence? In the case of abstinence, let us see that, A and B, 1 month later on, B is not able to pay the money because of some reason. A is hesitating in approaching you because you give the guarantee, even if you gave the guarantee, but he respects you. He does not want to trouble you. Okay, so A is speaking with B only, and A is saying that, boss, B, enough is enough. Okay, I give you 7 days. Please give me my money. I need money very, very badly, boss. Okay, I helped you when you needed. Please give me my money back. And then B says that, okay, I will see, I will try. Let me see what I can do for you in 7 days. And 7 days pass by. B is still not able to arrange money. Then A becomes very, very angry and says that I'm going to court now. I'm going to sue you because I've given you the loan. Okay. And B gets a little scared, saying that I already have so much problem and this guy will go to the court, then I'll get under further problem. So B proposes to, now here listen to, B proposes to, it is better to write this down, no? Yes. Okay, A and B. Then B proposes to A. From the B's angle, you see what B is proposing. B is proposing to A that, listen, I have taken from you 1 lakh rupees. I will give you 20,000 extra. Now, if you do not take me to court for the next 6 months, because I'm sure in the next 6 months I'll arrange the money and I'll give it back to you. I'll earn the money if needed, I'll give it back to you. Okay, what is B saying? What is B saying? That if you don't sue me, I will give you 20,000 rupees. Okay, for not suing me for the next 6 months. By which time, extra 20,000 rupees, by which time I'll pay you the rest 1 lakh rupees. Okay, now what is B getting? What is B giving? B is giving 20,000 rupees. What is B getting? He's getting abstinence. He's getting some. Is he getting some action? No, he's getting not an action. Okay, so A will not go to the court for the next 6 months. That is what B is getting. Alright, so in this particular case, you can clearly see that what is the consideration? Consideration is not an action, consideration is an abstinence. Okay, and another case, we say that you and A, and you gave a guarantee, and what did you get? You got an act from A. Okay, you gave guarantee and you got an act from A where A gave money to B. Okay, fine. So we now understand the abstinence part, right? And mostly, this abstinence is most of the time when you have to talk about abstinence, you can very conveniently fall on one example where one person is not going to sue the another for certain reason, right? In this particular case, it is possible that A has given loan to B, so A will go and sue B if B does not pay the loan. But it can also happen that A was driving, let us say Mr. A was driving on the road in a car and Mr. B was driving on a bike and Mr. A hits Mr. B by mistake. Mr. B becomes very, very angry. I'm going to go to police station. I'm going to go to file a case against you, so on and so forth. And Mr. A says that come down, come down, come down. I'm going to recover. I'm going to give you enough money to repair your scooter. I'm going to take care that you are also taken to hospital, and I'll pay for all the bills, and I'll give you this much money extra. Please do not do that. What is the abstinence? What is A getting? A is getting abstinence from B. That is the consideration A is getting for paying that money. Okay, so we now understand when we have to cite the example abstinence, we know what we have to cite the example. Okay, so other than that, one thing I would like you to keep in your mind, class, when the exam is there, they may ask you a few questions, and there is a very standard case law where they have used the definition of consideration from the point of view of what means act and what means abstinence. What all could mean act and what all could mean abstinence. For now, I'll just write those words and you have to keep that in mind. Okay. So act, it was a case law where this consideration, a valuable consideration, was defined, and specifically this definition is used mostly for understanding what constitutes act and what constitutes abstinence. Okay, so as far as positive act is concerned, right will constitute some right, okay, or some interest, or some profit, or some benefit. Okay, for one party, some right received by one party, some interest received by one party, some profit received by one party, or some benefit received by one party. On the other hand, the negative list, okay, the negative list says that forbearance is what? Abstinence only, tolerance, not doing something. Forbearance, okay, can be detriment. Detriment mostly means again restrainment or loss. Okay, fine. Or responsibility given, suffered, undertaken. Okay, so on the positive side is right, interest, profit or benefit, and on the negative side is forbearance, detriment, loss or responsibility given, suffered, undertaken. I'm not going to go into detail of that. It is only at this particular level, it is only for your reference that ever, if this is not the definition as per section 2 subsection D, it is not available in the Indian Contract Act. But in a major case law, this is how the judgment was given, where a little bit of clarity was given what constitutes an act and what constitutes an abstinence. Okay, so right, interest, profit, or benefit constitutes an act, positive thing, and forbearance, detriment, loss, responsibility given, suffered, undertaken constitutes abstinence. All right, so 2 points. Okay, so class, rest of the points we already know here, and then I'm going to discuss that in later detail when as I told you, legal rules regarding consideration. We'll take a section, take a discussion on that topic. So what is the third point, please tell me. So we have spoken about, consideration is an act. Yes, consideration can also be an abstinence, that we have discussed with examples, no problem. At the desire of promisor must be at the desire of the promisor. I'm just noting it down here. We'll discuss it in greater detail just a little later. Okay, consideration may, it is very important, may move from promisee. You can see, the promisee, when as a desire the promisor, the promisee or any other person, Okay, so consideration may move from promisee or any other person, but consideration must move at the desire of the promisor. Okay, and we will see why it is so important. Why law has written that and why it is so important. Okay, anything else? Yes, we notice that there is something called present, past, and past, present, and future. Okay, consideration may be past, present, or future. At any time, if you prepare for any exam where you are required to have knowledge of English law, there consideration cannot be past. Okay, fine. Anything else? So for now, this is what we can see from the definition, sir. 5 things only we can see. Act or abstinence, it must move at the desire of the promisor. It may move. Okay, so I hope that you paid attention to that, because we are going to have a good discussion, right? Here we are talking about must, and here we are talking about may. Okay, and must and may is quite different from each other, isn't it? All right, so consideration must move and must be at the desire of the promisor. Consideration may move at may move from promisee or any other person, not necessarily from promisee. And what else? Consideration may be past, present, or future. Consideration may be in past, present, or future. Okay, fine. So we have a little bit of idea what a consideration is now. Why don't we discuss something called legal rules regarding consideration? Okay, fine. Let's go ahead.